Hey everyone! Looks like an early draft of Avengers the Kang Dynasty has supposedly leaked online. At least that's what insiders are claiming. The script is dated March 2023, back when Marvel had just released Quantumania, and Jonathan Majors was still seen as the next big villain for the multiverse saga. Obviously, no one's going to officially confirm its authenticity. But think about it, who would go through the trouble of writing a 169-page professional Hollywood script just for fun? It wouldn't make much sense. Either way, we got a lot of material here, basically the whole movie. So let's break down the key moments from the script. And by the end, we'll discuss what might actually make it into the final version. Buckle up, here we go. The script opens with Kang the Conqueror's fate after Quantumania. He survived, but got trapped in an endless void of chaotic energy. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to the Nexus, where we see the Kang Council's inner conflict. Immortus, Ramatut, and the Centurion are leading the charge, aiming to take full control of the multiverse. But then, Watu the Watcher, yeah, the one from What If, warns that their actions could have catastrophic consequences. Immortus, however, insists that only his rule can save reality. In the end, the Kangs unleash a massive time wave, wiping out almost all the Watchers, while Watu barely escapes to an unknown location. Immortus then declares their next mission, destroying the Avengers from Earth 616, and seizing Miss Marvel's bangles and Shang-Chi rings. Meanwhile, in the shadows, we see Loki sitting on his throne in the temporal loom, watching as reality crumbles. Realizing the danger, he urges TVA to gather key heroes from different universes to stop the Kang Council. This roster includes Wolverine, Deadpool, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, Luke Cage, and the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four even helped build some sort of escape pod to travel between collapsing realities. Loki knows time is running out, and as the music swells, the movie's logo appears. Cut to Earth 616. Scott Lang is still recovering from Quantumania. Carol Danvers and Kamala Khan visit Wong to discuss the bangles. Shang-Chi and Hulk investigate the rings. Meanwhile, Sam Wilson, Captain America, and War Machine head to Wakanda to talk about rebuilding the Avengers. And as for Peter Parker, he's balancing college life with superhero duties, alongside Miles Morales. This suggests that Spider-Man 4 was originally meant to drop before Kang Dynasty, introducing Miles as Spidey's new partner. Then we jump back to Kang, lost outside of time and space. Out of nowhere, a young boy appears, accusing Kang of failing to save them. The scene makes it clear, this void is manifesting Kang's deepest traumas. Shadows start to gather, taking the form of his own twisted reflections, each one representing his ambitions and fears. A battle breaks out, and we learn the truth. Kang couldn't save his wife, his child, and his entire world, and the real reason is his own ruthless variance. Next, we shift to Doctor Strange and Clea, who have just returned from their journey to Kamartash. They inform Wong that the multiverse is in serious danger due to the actions of the Kang Council. With time running out, they need to act fast. Meanwhile, as the Avengers scramble to regroup, something eerie begins to unfold in the sky, almost like the calm before an approaching storm. Suddenly, futuristic warships start appearing across the planet, signaling the beginning of the Kang Council's full-scale invasion. Immortus addresses the people of Earth, declaring that the planet will be destroyed as punishment for the Avengers' sins and the theft of valuable relics. Panic erupts, chaos spreads like wildfire. We see Daredevil, Moon Knight, Wonder Man, and Star-Lord desperately trying to contain the mayhem. But the nightmare is only beginning. Kang's fleet launches a devastating attack. In an instant, entire megacities, landmarks, and historical sites are wiped off the map. The destruction mirrors the climax of Man of Steel, but on a planetary scale. In New York, Spider-Man races to MIT, desperate to save Ned and MJ. Meanwhile, Miles Morales nearly dies while trying to stop the enemy fleet from unleashing an even deadlier assault. Over in Wakanda, Sam Wilson rallies a strike team, Black Panther, Ironheart, War Machine, and the new Falcon. But they can only watch as the Kang Council's warships, massive enough to block out the sun, tear through cities. Buildings are ripped from their foundations, entire districts are swallowed by an apocalyptic gravity vortex, vanishing into oblivion. On the West Coast, tragedy strikes. Cassie Lang, Janet Van Dyne, Hope Van Dyne, and Hank Pym all perish in the chaos. Scott Lang finds his daughter's lifeless body, cradling her as the world around him dissolves into dust and ash. Within hours, billions are dead. Most of Earth has been reduced to a wasteland. Whatever remains is quickly conquered by the Kang Council, leaving the planet in complete ruin. After the devastating invasion, the surviving Avengers retreat to Wakanda, the last stronghold left standing. With communications cut off and their forces scattered, Sam Wilson sends out a desperate distress call, urging any remaining heroes to join them. One by one, they arrive. Thor, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Shang-Chi, Wonder Man, Doctor Strange, Clea, Spider-Man, Miles Morales, Daredevil, Ant-Man, Hawkeye, Captain Marvel, Hulk, and a handful of younger heroes. The rest either dead or missing. As they regroup, they come to a grim realization. The only way to turn the tide is to take down the Kang Council's ruling trio, Immortus, Centurion, and Ramatut, who have built strongholds across the planet. The Avengers launch a coordinated strike, but it goes terribly wrong. In a brutal battle, many heroes fall, including Captain Marvel, Shuri and Daredevil. Even Miles Morales is killed in the fight. And then the worst happens. Immortus seizes Kamala's bangles, unlocking godlike power. During the chaos, Doctor Strange is forced to separate from the team. As he flees through collapsing dimensions, he unexpectedly stumbles upon the Fantastic Four. They stand before him, looking desperate. "We need you to come with us," they say. Centurion realizes that with Immortus now wielding ultimate power, his own position is meaningless. Seeing no other choice, he attempts a coup, but Immortus saw it coming. Smirking, he unleashes his newfound abilities, ripping Centurion's very soul from existence. With his rivals eliminated, he declares himself Kang Prime. We then cut to Wakanda, completely devastated. The once thriving nation is in ruins. Captain America gathers the last remaining heroes inside a secret bunker built by Tony Stark, who had anticipated a day like this. Among the survivors are Spider-Man, Hulk, Thor, Miss Marvel and Shang-Chi. Meanwhile, back in the Void, Kang the Conqueror, the Quantumania version, is still fighting his own variants. We get a deeper dive into his backstory, revealing that while he did in fact wipe out billions, he did it to stop his far more ruthless counterparts from exterminating trillions. One key figure in his past, Ravonna Renslayer. This Kang loved her deeply, but before he can act, the Kang Council drags him out of the Void to stand trial. Kang Prime, reveling in his new power, taunts him, showing him that his entire timeline has been erased and that Ravonna has been executed. Overcome with rage, Kang the Conqueror breaks free, escaping into the multiverse. But he doesn't stop there. He begins absorbing the power of his alternate selves, taking in versions that Kang Prime hasn't yet destroyed. With each one, he grows stronger, ultimately earning a new title, the Beyonder Kang. And his next move, he heads straight to the Earth 616 to obliterate the Kang Council once and for all. Meanwhile, back in Stark's bunker, the situation turns dire. Ramatut and his forces finally track them down. He mockingly offers the remaining Avengers a choice: surrender and die quickly, or fight and suffer. He singles out Sam Wilson, belittling him, saying that compared to Steve Rogers, he's a nobody. Then, with a frightening ease, he overpowers the Avengers. And to make matters worse, he delivers Shang-Chi's 10 rings to Kang Prime, elevating him to the most powerful entity in the multiverse. But just when it seems like all hope is lost, the Beyonder Kang arrives. The Quantumania version of Kang, now supercharged beyond belief, he has absorbed the strength of the multiverse, and more importantly, he has mastered control over his countless variants. What follows is one of the most insane battles ever seen in the MCU. The Beyonder Kang tears through the Kang Council, wiping them out in reality-shattering brawl, and then it's just him and Kang Prime. Their duel is so intense that it unfolds across every reality simultaneously, shattering the very fabric of existence. The fight is so devastating that it even destroys Yggdrasil, the World Tree, the foundation of all realms. Loki, realizing that the destruction is beyond even his control, orders the TVA to evacuate. They board the Ark, a ship designed by the Fantastic Four to escape the collapsing multiverse. They manage to save a few, including Miss Marvel and Spider-Man, but that's it. Back in the final showdown, Beyonder Kang emerges victorious. With both Kamala's bangles and the 10 rings in his possession, he constructs a device capable of rewriting the multiverse. But instead of restoring things to the way they were, he does something else entirely. With the snap of his fingers, Kang resets reality, forging a single, unified world from the shattered remains of countless universes, a place where no one remembers their past lives. No one, except for the few survivors aboard the Fantastic Four's ship. And they're now prisoners of this new Kang. From there, the Secret Wars storyline kicks off, unfolding within this newly created battle world. This is where the remaining Avengers would have had their final fight against Kang, ultimately leading to a full multiversal reboot. On paper, it's not a bad script. It's clear that it was written for an entirely different MCU, one where Spider-Man 4 introduced Miles Morales, where Wonder Man had his own Disney Plus series, and where Miss Marvel was still considered a central figure in the universe, instead of a box office disappointment. The concept of Earth being completely annihilated by the Kangs is bold, even for Zack Snyder, let alone Marvel. Not even Infinity War went this dark. And having a major hero die in every 5 minutes, yeah, that's definitely not what mainstream audiences were expecting. And here's the problem: even though all the Phase 4 storylines seem to be leading up to something, the execution was so bad that there is no reason to believe this version of the Kang Dynasty would have been any better. At the very least, after Quantumania's failure, even an idiot could see the changes needed to be made. And not just tweaks, Marvel had to completely remove its weaker elements. Enter Robert Downey Jr. and Doomsday. This villain is a completely different kind of threat from Kang, so there is a 99% chance that almost all of the script is getting scrapped. Except maybe the battle world ending. Rumors are already swirling that Marvel wants to wrap up Kang's story, and maybe give Jonathan Majors a final appearance in Secret Wars. Insiders even claim that Doctor Doom will be the real big bad, and he will be the one to ultimately take Kang down. Either way, Avengers 5 is going to be very different from what this script originally envisioned. In the evolving landscape of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, significant shifts have redefined the trajectory of its upcoming phases. Originally, Avengers The Kang Dynasty was poised to be a constant run of Phase 6, with Jonathan Majors portraying the formidable Kang the Conqueror. However, following Majors' legal issues and subsequent departure from the franchise, Marvel Studios opted for a strategic overhaul. This led to the cancellation of The Kang Dynasty and the introduction of Avengers Doomsday, slated for a May 2026 release. In a surprising twist, Robert Downey Jr. returns to the MCU, not as Iron Man, but as Doctor Doom, a variant from Tony Stark, from an alternate universe, where Stark's path diverged into villainy. This casting choice not only brings a fresh dynamic to the narrative, but also reunites Downey with directors Joe and Anthony Russo, who are set to helm both Avengers Doomsday and its sequel, Avengers Secret Wars, scheduled for May 2026. The reimagined storyline pivots from the multiversal threats of Kang to the intricate machinations of Doctor Doom, setting the stage for a complex exploration of power and identity within the multiverse. This narrative shift is further enriched by the upcoming Fantastic Four first steps, introducing Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby as Reed Richards and Sue Storm. Their inclusion is anticipated to intertwine with Doom's arc, given the historical ties between the characters and Marvel lore. Additionally, Captain America Brave New World, featuring Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, hinted to delve into the multiversal challenges. These developments underscore Marvel's adaptive storytelling approach, ensuring the MCU remains dynamic and responsive to both internal and external factors, while continuing to captivate its global audience. But as for me, I'll see you in the next video.